Firstly, the most important thing to know about NI and SI is if you lead with NI or SI, that means you're going to be ending with J. That means you basically take your history, what you've learned, what you've established, and based on that history, that is going to push you forward and allow you to act appropriately. As opposed to a P, will kind of go with the flow and move into things. Right? So that means there is data that is being processed based on history as a way of judgment to decide what to do. A P doesn't really care about the history. They don't really care about experiences as much. They're moving and exploring. All right, now I'm going to start. Okay, today we're going to be explaining the difference between NI and NE. So the NI personality has a database where they store a lot of information of intuitive experiences that they experienced from experiences. I know I said experiences a bunch of times in the same sentence. So what will happen is they'll be somewhere and they'll pick up intuitively that something didn't make sense or it wasn't really nice the way they acted. It could be an inner feeling, but a lot of it is based on intuition. It's not based on any concrete data. And what will happen is if you tell it over to an SI, they won't count that as data to be used for future decisions. And they'll remember it in order to actually influence decisions. The next time they'll be in that state, they'll use that information. Now the NE, for example, he just really observes and he doesn't really store his intuitive data, his intuitions for future experiences. Okay, so you're at Starbucks and you have a pretty negative experience there, right? So that experience, you intuitively register as that's not good, doesn't make sense. But now you process that and you remember that. We talk about first impressions. So you guys are king at first impressions. You guys get impressionized strongly. You guys remember things, relationships. Oh my gosh. NI relationships are intense because the NIs take their relationships so seriously. They remember details. The impressions are left. So, and that can make the experience, and now you're not going to go to Starbucks because of that, based on that experience. Now, it can be very good. You guys are very diligent. You get things done. You guys act with such a meaning, and the way you affect people is more that not that you're almost in their face as much, like an FE, somebody who's in their feelings, but rather more because what you do packs a humongous punch. Your actions really mean a lot because it's backed by so much judgment, and it's backed by a certain amount of decisiveness. You really thought it through and you worked it out and you came to this conclusion, and it means much more. So just a recap of how you guys work. NI, and now we're also to bring in SI. You guys have a certain impression memory. That impression memory is used subconsciously as a way to judge and decide on what to act, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, as opposed to this general flow of P. Now, I want to mention, this is important, that an FI is capable of doing this also. He could take feelings, how somebody felt about something, internalize that feeling and associate that feeling with the action as being negative or being positive, whatever it is. So it could be a little bit similar. FIs could be, people who lead with FI over NI tend to actually be much more scared to do things because they could have more negative experiences and their feelings could be enmeshed so much it could be a lot more scary. So let's just keep with NI for now. But I hope you understood this. I hope this really helped make things much clearer. And I want to just conclude that this really doesn't incorporate everything with SI. SI, people, are very, very sweet people, and they're very accomplished, and they're not looking to reinvent the wheel. They're not looking to create a fantasy novel. They're really looking to just take care of the world how it is and make sure the world's a good place. And whatever they do, they just do it very, 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 very well. And one other thing about SIs is also that they're very concrete. The data that SIs particularly use is use very concrete data as opposed to intuitive data. And then, just to give you an example about this, um, you're in a restaurant and somebody does something that can be perceived in a certain way, and either way can be perceived. And one person actually intuitively feels that it's the wrong thing, and another person that's an NI, and the SI is like, you didn't actually do anything wrong. So one person could actually put this as a negative impression in the judgment box, in the impression box for later decisions, while the other won't. Well, another person will see somebody do something that looks like it's concrete bad, but the other person will be like, if you know the whole story, you understand that it's not really the wrong thing, because intuitively I understand that she had it coming to her, yada yada yada. So it's really they're tapping into a different resource box. And we can elaborate more on different examples of this at a different time. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Take care.